Well, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Alyssa Zempel, and I'm an independent educational consultant that's located here in the Twin Cities. Today, I'm going to continue with my FAFSA mistake series and look at mistake number 12. This mistake is when families decide not to apply for financial aid their freshman year, thinking they'll just apply in their sophomore, junior, or senior year instead. If you're thinking about doing this or know someone who is, please watch this entire video. This mistake can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. So let's dive in. Here's how this situation typically plays out. A family sits down and says, you know what? We make too much money. We're not going to qualify for need-based aid. Why bother filling out the FAFSA? First of all, it's complicated. And second of all, it asks for all of our financial information. We'll just deal with this later if we need to. Or maybe the family says, we've saved money for the first year or two. We'll pay out of pocket initially, and then if we run into trouble a junior or senior year, we'll apply for aid at that point. Or here's another common one I hear. Our financial situation is good right now, but we're worried about job security and/or the economy. We'll keep financial aid as our backup plan. I get it. On the surface, it seems logical, but here's what families don't realize. Financial aid, especially institutional aid from colleges, doesn't work like an insurance policy where you can just tap into whenever you need it. The system is set up to reward students who apply from day one. So let me break down exactly why skipping the FAFSA your freshman year is such a critical mistake. We're going to look at the top 4 reasons. First of all, institutional aid goes to freshmen. Colleges have a limited financial aid budget. They allocate the vast majority of their institutional grant money to incoming freshmen. Why? Basically, they're trying to convince students to enroll in their college. Once you're already attending their school as a sophomore or junior, they've already got you. There's no incentive to suddenly offer you grant money you didn't receive as a freshman. Think about it from a college's perspective. They're basically running a business. They offer their best financial aid packages to freshmen to fill their incoming class with the students they want. After that, most institutional grant money is reserved for the next batch of incoming freshmen. Second of all, no late bloomers for merit aid. Many families don't realize this, but a significant number of scholarships and merit aid opportunities are specifically designed for incoming freshmen only. If you don't apply for financial aid your first year, you automatically disqualify yourself from these programs. And here's the kicker. Even if you have a 4.0 GPA and are the president of multiple clubs, most schools won't give you new merit scholarships. Merit aid is primarily a recruitment tool for freshmen. And third, renewal policies favor continuity. Most financial aid packages are designed to be renewed each year, assuming your financial situation stays relatively stable and you maintain the academic requirements. It's much easier to keep receiving aid than to start receiving aid as a continuing student. When you apply for aid as a sophomore or junior for the first time, you're essentially asking the financial aid office to carve out a brand new aid package for you from a budget that's already been allocated, and that's an uphill battle. Fourth, well, you might actually qualify. Here's something that surprises a lot of families. You might qualify for more aid than you think. The FAFSA formula considers factors beyond just income. For instance, they look at the age of the parents, assets, and any special circumstances. Some families who assume they won't get anything are actually pleasantly surprised. And even if you don't qualify for need-based grants, filing the FAFSA makes you eligible for federal student loans with better interest rates than private loans. And sometimes you can qualify for work-study positions. Now let's take a look at a real world example. This family I worked with, we'll call them the Martinez family, had saved diligently for college. They saved about $60,000. They thought we'll use our savings for freshman and sophomore year and then apply for aid junior year if we need it. Well, the student enrolled at a private university which costs about $55,000 a year. They paid the full price freshman year, and when they came to me at the start of sophomore year, they had spent half their savings. We decided to file for FAFSA with the hope of receiving some aid. Here's what happened. The college offered them about $5,500 in federal student loans. That's it. No institutional grants and no work study. Nothing that would significantly reduce their out-of-pocket costs. When I called the financial aid office to discuss the situation, I was told, "We've already allocated our institutional aid budget. We prioritize funding for incoming freshmen and for students who've been receiving aid since their first year." The family ended up with two brutal choices. They could take out massive Parent Plus loans at high interest rates or have their daughter transfer to a less expensive school, which meant she would have to leave her friends, leave her academic program, and leave the campus community. This family lost up to potentially $20,000 to $30,000 in grant money per year because they didn't file that freshman year FAFSA. Over 4 years, that's about a six-figure mistake. Now, some of you might be wondering, but what if my financial situation changes? What if I lose my job? Won't the college help me then? Yeah, so colleges do have professional judgment processes for families experiencing significant financial changes, such as job loss, medical emergencies, death of a parent, and divorce. But here's the catch. You'll have a much stronger case if you were already in their financial aid system. If you've been filing the FAFSA every year and suddenly experience a crisis, the financial aid office has your history. They can see your baseline and understand that this was a legitimate change in circumstances, and they're more likely to help you out. But if you never filed the FAFSA and suddenly show up junior year and you need it, it raises some questions. Did you really experience a change, or are you just trying to game the system? You're starting from scratch with no established relationship with the financial aid office. Also, if you do experience a financial change, you'll want to be eligible for all possible aid sources, federal, state, and institutional. You can't access most of these without filing the FAFSA from the very beginning. Now, you might be wondering if there are any situations where it might make sense not to file the FAFSA. Yep, there are a few, and I'll mention them here. If you're receiving a full ride scholarship that explicitly covers 100% of costs and doesn't require the FAFSA for renewal, you might be able to skip it. But even then, I'd recommend filing it anyways because circumstances can change. If you're an international student and not eligible for federal aid and the school doesn't require the FAFSA for institutional aid, that's another exception. But for 99% of American families and eligible non-citizens, I recommend that you file the FAFSA every single year, starting freshman year. So here are some action steps you can take now so you don't make this mistake. First off, file the FAFSA before you start freshman year, even if you think you won't qualify. The FAFSA typically opens on October 1st for the following academic year. So this means you will file it during your student's senior year of high school. Number two, check if your school also requires the CSS profile or institutional aid forms. Some private colleges require additional applications beyond the FAFSA. Number three, make sure you file every single year by the priority deadline. This is usually February or March, but check your specific school's deadline. If you miss the deadline, You might miss out on aid even if you do qualify. Number 4, maintain renewal requirements. Most aid packages require you to maintain satisfactory academic progress and sometimes a minimum GPA. Make sure you read the fine print. Number 5, if you didn't file freshman year and you're watching this video as a sophomore or a junior, file the FAFSA now anyway. Yes, you'll probably get less than if you'd filed from the beginning, but something is better than nothing, and you'll at least qualify for federal loans and potentially some work study. So the bottom line is applying for financial aid is not something you can put off until later. The system rewards students who apply from day one. Don't leave money on the table because of assumptions about eligibility or wanting to avoid the paperwork. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more tips. If you would like some individual guidance, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is on the screen. I hope you have a great day. See you next time.